Well, Francis Schultz has served as district attorney of Crawford County since 2000, and he joins us this morning. He recently came out making a pretty big announcement, and we want to welcome him to the program this morning. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me, Luke. It's always good to come to Titusville. I appreciate you having me on.
Hey, you made a pretty big announcement. Before we get to that, though, let's learn a little bit about you. Tell us about yourself.
About me? Well, I'm originally from Beaver County, and my first job out of law school was here in the DA's office in Crawford County, and I started back in December of 1995.
Wow.
And I thought I'd be here for a couple years and get some experience and go back to Pittsburgh or Beaver County, and here I am. It's been a wonderful ride for me. My wife and I, our two kids were born here, so I'm not originally from Crawford County, but Crawford County is my home. And I've loved living here.
Well, what sort of elements, I always love this part, what sort of elements kept you here? Obviously, you love the job, the people I would imagine you fell in love with, the area.
The work, I enjoyed the work. I enjoyed the office, working with the local and state police. We really have a good group here in Crawford County. Met a lot of friends, and it's a better quality of life for me than living in the city. I tell you what, I can go home for lunch and go back to work, and you can't do that in Pittsburgh and a lot of places. And Don Lewis was a really good defense attorney here for a long time, and he was the DA, and he was from Pittsburgh. And he used to tell people all the time, you don't realize how good you have it when you've lived at other places. So I've loved living here in Crawford County.
That's great. You said you raised a family, good kids?
Oh, yeah. My son's in law school at Duquesne. He's in his second year, and my daughter's a junior at Penn State. At the main campus, they're having a little bit of a tough time with the pandemic and their schooling, but very proud of them, and they're both graduates of Sagertown High School.
That's great. And again, raised locally and doing great things, so congratulations.
Thank you very much. I've enjoyed my time here.
So talk about the announcement you recently made.
Well, I decided to run for judge here in the Court of Common Pleas in Crawford County. We have an opening. Judge Vidaro was our president judge for a long time, and he retired 2 years ago, so there is an opening. I've loved being DA. I couldn't imagine having a better job, but 20 years is a long time, and I'm looking for a new challenge. And it's time to do something else, and I think I'm uniquely qualified because of the work that I've done as DA.
Was that something that you took some time to think about, or you just thought, when the announcement was made, and you thought, this is a good time to do it?
Well, a lot of factors. It is a good time to do it. I'm in the middle of my term, so it's not like I had to make a decision whether I'm going to run for DA or judge, because I've known DAs who've done that and they lost, and then they're looking for a job. So I was very lucky that it's at this time in my term, and the second year of my sixth term. I did think about it a long time and talk to my family. Be a big change for me, but it's something that I'm looking forward to.
What's different with this run compared to others?
Well, it's running for a different job. It really is, and really the pandemic is the thing. I have a really strong committee who's helping me out, but it's hard. We can't have events. We have to be mindful of social distancing and the virus, and people don't want to go to places and congregate. So that's a little bit different kind of campaign. We've been doing a lot of things online with some fundraising, and we have a web page, and we have a presence on Facebook.
And if folks want to learn more or contribute to the campaign, what's the website?
It's www.schultzforjudge.com. It's very easy to find. My last name is spelled Schultz, and on Facebook it's Schultz for Judge. So that's the common theme.
So go like them on Facebook and follow the campaign
Sure.
there. So when you look back at your career, the past 20 years, what stands out? What are some highlights for you?
I think the highlights would be the murder cases that I've worked on with the state police and local police. That's something that there's a lot of pressure there. You're working with the police to try to catch the killer. You have a victim's family who are brokenhearted, and you want to do a good job for them. So working on those cases with the police, those investigations, and then taking those cases to trial are certainly the highlights. But just a lot of day-to-day work. I have a really good staff at the DA's office. I wouldn't even think about doing this if I didn't have somebody who I thought who could take over, and that's Paula DiGiacomo, who's my first assistant. If I'm successful in becoming judge, she'll become DA by operation of law. Then she'd have to run in the next election, and she'll do a great job. So the office, I think, is in good hands, and I've always had a good group of people to work with.
And she's been working with you for quite some time.
She started in the office, I think, in '94.
Wow.
And I started in '95, and she's been my first assistant since 2000. So she's a great person, she's a great lawyer, and she'll do a really good job.
Well, I think for people that don't pay attention, Obviously, there's a lot of heartbreak. You mentioned some of those cases, a lot of emotion, a lot of, I would imagine, some stress at times with the job. Is living in this area one of the benefits, being able to step out and just go for a walk to kind of relieve some of that stress?
Well, that's a good point, because when I'm done at the end of a stressful day, it takes me 12 minutes to get home. I'm not going to sit in traffic for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
In some places, and people, they take that for granted, but I've done it. I've lived near D.C., I've lived in Maryland and Pittsburgh, I've lived in different places, and really just going and coming from work is easier here, and it does mean something.
You talk about kind of using a different playbook for the campaign. Can people still reach out to you to try to volunteer or to help with the campaign somehow?
Sure. They, once again, just get in touch with us on the website. They can give me a call. I'm not going to give my cell phone out right now on the air. But I don't do any campaign work at work, so people don't have to worry about that. But if they just go on the website or the Facebook page, really easy to get involved.
You mentioned the family support. This is a big decision, isn't it?
Sure it is, because my job affects everybody that I live with and take care of, and they're a supportive group. I assure you, though, they make sure I never get a big head, because to them I'm just dad. You
are involved with some other things with your position. Talk about some of those things that. Outside of the murder cases that you work on, but what are some of the things that also kind of fulfill your career that are positive?
Well, we started what's called the Child Interview Center back in 2009. That was a big thing here in Crawford County, and what that is, that's located at Human Services Department in Vernon Township, and it's a place where kids, when there's accusations that they've been abused or severely neglected, they can go. We have a forensic interviewer who sits down with them and talks to the child. And what used to happen in those kind of cases, the child would be interviewed multiple times. They'd be interviewed by a CYS worker, by the police officer, and maybe somebody from our office. So you got this kid who's maybe 6 years old getting interviewed by 3 strangers.
Wow.
So with a collaborative effort with Human Services and CYS and state and local police, we developed the Child Interview Center, where the child is interviewed, like I said, by the forensic interviewer, and then in a separate room, we get to watch the interview on TV. It's either myself or one of the assistant district attorneys, the police officer, and the CYS worker, so the child's only interviewed one time. And that has really worked out well. It's helped us be better prosecutors in those cases, and it's been really good for the community, and especially really good for those kids. And that was something that took a lot of work in working with people, and that's something that I think I've become pretty good at during my years as district attorney. I never thought I had to be the smartest person in the room. I have no problem taking advice and ideas from other people.
The pandemic, we were talking before coming on, obviously with kids not being in school as much, it's hard to spot kids who might be struggling at home. Has that been more challenging this past year and a half?
I'm sure it has, because you have teachers who look out for those kind of things. Maybe the child's acting a little bit differently, or maybe there's a bruise on their cheek, or they're unkempt or misbehaving, and it's just not normal behavior. Those teachers would do a good job in spotting those kind of issues. Now the kids are at home, and they don't have access to the outside world, and I'm sure that there's some things that are going on that we're not aware of.
Back in 2009, then Governor Corbett appointed you to an advisory board with the Attorney General's Medical Legal Advisory Board.
Yes.
That had to have been a pretty good honor for you.
It was, and I tell you what, I've learned so much. The Medical Legal Advisory Board, we meet in Harrisburg quarterly. Now, we haven't been meeting because of the pandemic. Mm-hmm. And the board is made up of prosecutors from around the state, medical specialists, neurologists, pediatricians. And what we do as a board, individual prosecutors and police officers, if they have a case, a child abuse case, and are not sure where to go with it, they can make a presentation to our board, and we give them advice and evaluate the case and try to give them some help in the prosecution and charging of that case. And I've learned a lot from the other prosecutors and learned a lot from the doctors. So being involved in statewide organizations like that has certainly helped me.
You're watching The Morning Drill on Stream Television and Armstrong's Neighborhood Channel, and listening to it on the Allegheny News Talk Sports Network. Here with District Attorney Francis Schultz. It takes a lot. We talk about those folks who run for offices. We were talking before coming on, and what it takes to do that. It's impressive. It's needed, and I think there's good people around here that step into those positions, and you must see that with the job that you do. There are people doing great things in our county.
Oh, there really are. I've always had a good relationship with the commissioners. They have a tough job. Anytime you're in charge of the budget and money and taxes, somebody's going to be mad at you. And since I've been DA since 2000, we've always had really good commissioners. I don't always agree with everything they do. Certainly, they don't always agree with what I want them to spend money on. That's the nature of it. But they've always been good people, and I think really that's important when people are running for office and people are deciding who to vote for. That's the first qualification. Are they a good man? Or are they a good woman? And we have really good people in the row offices. They work hard every day. Sometimes I think in the community there's this idea that you're a quote-unquote county employee and you don't work. But I can tell you, in the clerk of courts, in the prothonotaria's office, in the treasurer's office, in the sheriff's office, those people work hard. I see it every day, and they're good people.
Yeah, and prior to the pandemic, I knew people were in and out of the courthouse all the time for different things. And again, great employees to serve the folks here in Crawford County.
Oh, they're busy places, and now we have two buildings. We have the courthouse and the judicial center, so there's a lot of traffic going in and out. And I think the people that work in those places care about their jobs and they do good work.
Another aspect to the resume, chairman of the Crawford County Prison Board.
Yeah, that can be challenging.
Yeah.
By statute, every county has to have a prison board, and by law, certain members have to be on it, and the district attorney is one of those. And I've been the chairman of the board for, I think since maybe 2004. And, we meet monthly, and our job is to be like a board of directors at the jail, and that can be difficult. People at the jail don't want to be at the jail. And it's a tough place to manage, and our corrections officers and our warden, they do a good job. But that's a part of the job that, when you first become DA, you don't think it's going to take up your time. But there have been some issues, and it has taken some time, and it can be a challenge, but I do enjoy it.
Quite an impressive resume. If folks go to the website, they'll be able to read more about you and learn more about you, even contribute to the campaign. Let's have a little bit of fun now. What do you do to relax?
What do I do to relax? Well, I work out in the morning. I get up about 5:15. I don't know if that's relaxing, but it's something that I enjoy to do. I play a lot of golf in the summer. I'm a member at the Meadville Country Club. Anybody who's a golfer, you got to check that place out. I tell you what, it is a gem. We were so lucky to have it, and I didn't grow up playing golf, but I've met some of my best friends out there, and that is something that I really enjoy doing.
Well, I know Phil said 6 more weeks of winter. Hopefully that's not the case. You can get out there sooner.
We probably need to do something about that groundhog sooner or later.
That's right. Favorite places to travel with the family?
We go to Hilton Head, South Carolina in the summer. My good friend Brad Folk was the district attorney up in Erie County. Unfortunately, he passed away early, I think 2005 or 2006 from cancer, and he had a place in Hilton Head. And when I first got to know him, he let me go down there, and we fell in love with the place, and that's their favorite place to go. So we try to go every summer. That's a good time for us.
Yeah. You mentioned some of the folks that you work with. When you come into the office, who makes you smile?
I don't know if any of them make me smile, but no, that's just a joke. They're a good group of people, and I try to always impress upon them, especially with the support staff, that they're just not legal secretaries. They play an important role in the system of justice in our county, and every case that we win, every time we're successful, they played a part in that. And so I always try to impress upon them how important their job is, and they work hard, and they're good people.
Every case is important, isn't it?
It's important to somebody, certainly. Sometimes you've been doing it for a long time, and you think to yourself, it's a run-of-the-mill burglary case, but it really isn't. Because it's important to those victims that somebody came into their house and stole something, and we always have to be mindful of that it might not be a case that we're super excited about, but it means something to the victim and it means something to the community.
Pandemic has shown that our county has a lot of great people doing things. A lot of hidden talents have really emerged over the past year and a half. Is that something that you see as you drive through town heading to work?
Sure. I mean, it's sometimes it takes a tragedy or something awful to bring the community together. And I remember right after 9/11, and it was really what impressed me about the community is I went to give blood I thought it was a good idea. We have all these people that were injured, and there was a blood drive. And I left work, maybe at lunchtime, and went down to the active aging community center, and it was too packed. I would have had to have waited for 3 hours, and I just couldn't do it because of work. And that made me feel good about the community. And it's the same way here with the coronavirus. You see people pulling together the vaccination program that the hospital has, and people are helping each other.
Mr. Schultz, good to see you this morning. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much. I always enjoy coming to Titusville, and thank you so much for having me on your show.
And again, if folks want to learn more about you, what's the website?
www.schultzforjudge.com, and we're on Facebook too, Schultz for Judge.
All right. We know that this area is a better place because of people like you. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.